ආයුබෝවන් ආයුෂ බොහෝ ඒවා ජය වේවා. එමනම් අපි මේ හරවත් ඩිස්කෂන් එක පටන් ගන්න යන්න. But before that, I want to get you accustomed to this environment. Colombo Marine Drive කියන්නේ මුහුදට කිට්ටුම location එකක්. I'm at the Mirage Hotel, very comfortably seated, getting ready for a very important discussion. දැන් මේ discussion එකට අපි සහභාගී කරගන්නවා a very important person who's come all the way from down under. He's been in Australia for a long time. He is a chartered accountant and also he is a registered migration consultant. So we have a lot to learn from him. And what are we going to learn? We'll find out. He's also the director for Oz Migration for You and also director for Oz Education for You. So we will find out what these companies are all about. So in conversation with me is Mr. Ashad Perera. Ayubowan Ashad.
Ayubowan.
Welcome to Colombo and welcome to Sri Lanka.
Thanks a
I
lot.
know you just returned, I think the day before or yesterday from Australia, and you've been in Australia for a long time, and you are a person who's done a lot, as we understand, to guide people in the proper way. Then guide people, we are going to now focus on, because your area is diverse, we are going to now focus on students, right? Because Ashad, we know that it could be a student, right? Man දැන් A levels කියන්නේ මම student කෙනෙක්. දැන් මම A levels complete කරලා දැන් මම කල්පනා කරනවා මොකද කරන්නේ, right? I have a great dream of going to Australia to study. එහෙම නැත්නම් I could be a parent, right? දැන් මගේ දූ හෝ පුතා A levels complete කරලා හොඳට පාස් වෙලා දැන් මම කල්පනා කරනවා මට ආසයි පුතාව ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාට යවන්න. නමුත් කොහොමද මේක කරන්නේ, right? මං ඉන්ටර්නෙට් බලනවා, එක එක්කෙනාගෙන් අහනවා. නමුත් මට හරියටම හරි කොන්ක්‍රීට් පාත්වේ එකක් මට තාම ලැබිලා නැහැ, right? ඉතින් ඔය ගැන හිතන පේරන්ට් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, ඔය ගැන හිතන ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ හිතන ඔබට හොඳම උත්තරේ දෙන්න පුළුවන් මහත්මයා තමයි this is the best person, Mr. Ashad Perera, right? So let us start from the beginning, or let's say the foundation. Foundation කියන්නේ a student has successfully completed his or her A levels, right? Results avilla, then he or she wants to go to Australia, on a dream maker to go to Australia to study, right? Then how are you going to guide the student?
Thanks Clifford. මේ දැන් Australia visa process එක කියන්නේ ටිකක් complicated visa process එකක්. ඉතින් ඒ completed visa process එක you have to very carefully plan කරන්න ඕන. මේ ඒ visa process එක plan කරොතින් තමන්ගේ student visa path එක plan කරොතින් ඒක successfully student visa එක grant කරලා හොඳ university එකක study කරලා තමන්ට ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ permanent residency ඒ dream එක
දක්වා යන්න
පුළුවන්. නමුත් දැන් student visa එකක් plan කරනවා කියන්නේ ඒක එකපාරට කරන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. ටිකක් long term process එකක්. ඉතින් ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ student visa ඇත්තටම මේ process එක introduce කරලා තියෙන්නෙම permanent residency කියන එක අරමුණු කරගෙන නෙමෙයි. It is not for the purpose of the permanent residency.
Right. Now you mentioned student visa. So that is one type of visa, right? So you have visit visa. Again, if it's a visitor, you apply for a visit visa and you go to Australia. So we are focusing on student visa. So for a student, the student has to apply for a student visa. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's when you are doing that student visa only, you got to really be careful, because what's going to happen is if you don't do this right once, and if you have some sort of a rejection in the student visa, it is very hard for you to get your dream fulfilled. So be very concerned, get the proper advice, especially from a registered migration consultant or somebody who has got experience on this. And then we as a registered migration consultants or anybody who is around can help you to achieve this dream. But what you have to be mindful is it is a complicated process, but if you do it right, you can get it right on the first time.
Yeah. So you say it's a complicated process, and you say that you do it properly. So, okay, how does one start? So I could be a parent, I could be a student. Now I want to go to Australia, I want to study. So how does one start or get about it?
Okay, so the thing that you got to be concerned is now if you finish your studies or if you finish your advanced level, then you think of you have to have what do you want to do in. So you got to decide which stream you want to follow. So if you have done somebody in maths for your A levels, you got to decide okay what are the options what you have. Then you talk to somebody like us, one of the education consultants, then we will tell you the possible options. So if you have done your maths, we'll tell you, okay, ideal situation is you go and do an engineering degree. And then we will give you, depending on the states. Now Australia has different states from Victoria to New South Wales to Western Australia to Queensland. There are different states, and those different states have different jobs that are in demand. So we will suggest to you, depending on your interest and depending on the current demand of Australia, we will tell you which state is better for you and which course is better for you, so that you keep within your what you want to achieve. So if you want to become an engineer, we will tell you these are the options you have, these are the universities we have. So once we study your A-level results, based on your results, we will first have an initial discussion with you and give you those options. So those options will be which state you want to go and what type of universities you want to do and the course fees of those different universities, because every university has a different course fee. So that will be the initial discussion we will be having with you.
Okay. So what is the minimum eligibility criteria now? Okay, passing advanced level. So in Sri Lankan standards, there is a certain level of pass mark. So for an Australian university, is there a minimum level of grades that you have to achieve?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
So basically, depending on your, let's say you did a bio stream and you did very well in bio. So the ideal course you could do is you go and do nursing, because with nursing you can easily get your permanent residency. But if you have done bio and if you are not got very good results, then we can give you different options like radiology or speech therapy or somebody in that bio stream. So depending on, so you don't need to really get good results to get into an Australian university.
Okay.
All what you do is depending on the results you have, then we will give you the options.
Okay. So in Sri Lanka, a person could have studied in Sinhala ඉගෙන ගන්න නැති, Tamil භාෂාව ඉගෙන ගන්න නැති, English ඉගෙන ගන්න නැති. So obviously when you go to Australia, the medium will be English, right? So what is the English requirement for student visa?
So that's an interesting question actually. So some of the universities don't even require English.
Oh, really?
English to get the admissions. Some of the universities will require English, so you can do. There are two types of tests that are available. One is called IELTS, other one is called PTE.
So both are accepted, IELTS and PTE.
Yes,
okay.
Both are accepted for these courses. So you can either do that, or we can tell you some universities where they don't really require the English and they don't require that for visas as well. So then depending also on the course, say for example, if you want to do teaching or something, they require really a high level of English requirements and they don't sometimes accept the PT exam, they only will accept IELTS exam. So depending on the course you do, depending on the university, depending on the states, your English levels will be different.
Okay, fine. And how about the financial requirement? I'm sure there is a minimum financial requirement as well for...
That's a very good question as well. So, but then I think we will probably tackle this in detail on another video.
On another program.
But generally, the rule of thumb is you need 1 year finance requirements. So they tell you, okay, if your course fees is, let's say, 40,000 or 20, let's say 30,000 for a year, you need that 30,000 plus you need 1 year living cost to get the visa. So
Right.
1 year living cost in Australian standard is about 20 grand. So 20,000 plus the 1 year course fees, that's the minimum amount that you require to to show to get Australian.
Right. So, achieving your Australian dream, and that's in the company of Education for You. So, we are in conversation with Mr. Ashad Perera, registered migration consultant. So, you complete your A levels and then you come to them, they will decide or they will suggest to you as to what course you should follow and which region, which state you should go and which uni you should go. So all these will be guided by the very educated and also well-versed migration consultants and education consultants, and their head office is in Melbourne, and you have a registered office in Colombo as well, in Rajagiri.
Yeah, that's right, Cliff. Now, just to add back to what you were talking about the states. So depending on so Australia has basically among those states, so we have 3 major states. So that is Victoria, and that is where Melbourne is, and then we have New South Wales where Sydney is, and we have Queensland, which is Brisbane is. Now those 3 are called major cities. All other states in Australia are called regional cities. So Australian government will give a lot of incentives to the students who want to go to those regional cities.
Okay.
So we always tell our clients, tell our students, see whether you can go to a regional city than coming to these 3 major cities. Then you will have better permanent residency pathways for these students.
Right. So in a subsequent program, we'll be talking about the financial requirement and also how to select a course. But in this program, we need to touch on another very important thing. Now, at what point do you apply? Because the timelines are important, right?
Yeah, so generally the Australia has 2 semesters.
Yeah.
Some universities has 3, but generally 2. එකක් තියෙනවා ජුලයි වල.
හරි.
අනිත් එක තියෙනවා ජනවරි නැත්නම් ෆෙබ්‍රුවරි වල.
So you call the February intake?
ෆෙබ්‍රුවරි intake එකයි
July
ජුලයි
intake
intake එකයි.
right.
එතකොට දැන් ඕකට මාස 3කට විතර ඉස්සෙල්ලා තමයි වීසා එක ඇප්ලයි කරන්න ඕනේ. දැන් මොකද සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඔස්ට්‍රේලියන් හයි කමිෂන් එක 1 month to 1.5 months, sometimes සමහර වෙලාවට 2 months විතර ගන්න.
Processing time.
Processing time.
Right.
ඔය ඒ processing visa එක apply කරන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා තමන් යුනිවර්සිටි එකකින් offer letter එකක් ගන්නවා. එතකොට යුනිවර්සිටි එක තවත් timing ගන්නවා. එතකොට මේ ඔක්කොම manage කරන්න නම් අඩුම ගානේ 4 to 5 months time එකක්
Right.
ඕන.
ඒ කියන්නේ
visa process එක apply කරන්න.
ඒ කියන්නේ යන දවසට කලින් මාස 4කට කලින් වැඩේ පටන් ගන්න ඕනේ. අඩුම ගාන. minimum 4 months.
මාස 4යි නැත්නම් මාස 5ක් 6කට කලින්
පටන් ගන්න. right. එතකොට A levels කරන්න කලින් අපි කියමු කෙනෙක් AS exam එක complete කරලා යන්න pathway එකක් තියෙනවද? options තියෙනවද?
ඔව්, after O levels වලින් යන්න options උත් තියෙනවා. දැන් after O levels වලින් options දෙකක් තියෙනවා.
Yeah.
එකක් තමයි මේ ලංකාවේ කරන්න පුළුවන් ෆවුන්ඩේෂන් year කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට මේ ෆවුන්ඩේෂන් year එක ගොඩක් colleges offer කරනවා. එතකොට මේ ෆවුන්ඩේෂන් year එක year 12 එකට equivalent.
okay.
එතකොට ඒක කරලා
year 1 එකට.
year 2 ඒ කියන්නේ advanced level වලට equivalent.
okay.
එතකොට O level කරලා අර ෆවුන්ඩේෂන් course එක කරොත් වෙන මෙහි තියෙන වෙන ඉන්ස්ටිටියුට් එකක්
right.
එතකොට කෙලින්ම එයාට බැචුලර් ඩිග්‍රී එකකට ඇප්ලයි කරන්න.
right. එතකොට exemptions හම්බෙනවා, like they say that you can get a first year of the uni exempted, you enter second year, එහෙම එකක් නැහැ.
එහෙම එකකුත් තියෙනවා. දැන් ඒක තියෙන්නේ දැන් ඒ බැචුලර් එක මෙහෙ පටන් ගන්න තියෙනවා.
okay.
දැන් සිස්ටම්ස් තියෙනවා.
right.
දැන් ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ස්ටඩි කරාට පස්සේ ඕස්ට්‍රේලියන් ස්ටඩි රික්වයර්මන්ට් කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට ස්ටඩි කරාට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලෝ ග්‍රැජුවේට් වීසා එකක් දෙනවා, වර්ක් වීසා එකක්.
right.
දැන් ඒ වර්ක් වීසා එකට එන්ටයිටල් වෙන්න නම් මිනිමම් මාස 18ක් ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙනවා.
right. right.
එතකොට මේ මාස 18 විතරයි ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට අනිත් ඒවා ඕන රටක ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට to answer your question, they can do that first year, second year, first 1.5 year studies
in Sri Lanka.
Yeah. And then
and
they
the balance.
go back so the beauty of that is you can do most of the cost in rupees.
Cost saving, yeah.
And then do the last year or last 1.5 years in In Australia.
Right.
So I know the courses. There is a course, nursing course, for example, which is easiest to get permanent residence in Australia. You can do the first 2 years
Okay.
here, and you can go and do 1 year in Australian university, plus another 1 year to do other studies. So you complete that 2 years, then you can
Okay.
get the permanent residency in Australia by.
Good, right. So I think we covered all those important areas, because after you complete your A levels and how you are going to decide on what to do, where to go, which you need to go, which state to go. So all this was covered by the expert himself, Mr. Ashad Perera, a registered migration consultant and also director Oz Migration for You and director of Oz Education for You. So in the subsequent programs, we'll be covering in detail about the actual selection of the course, and also the most important thing is finances. So those are two very important areas. So with this, we're going to close this discussion, and once again a big thank you to Mr. Ashad Perera. Thank you very much for joining us. I won, and wish you all the very best.
Thanks.
Thank you very
Clifford.
much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you
And
very
thank
much.
you for coming
All the
to
best to
have
you.
us.